When I first started smoking, I was a late bloomer on weed. I was 21 when I started smoking.
I was 30.
Yeah, you were late. And it took me a month. Like I was ignorant to the whole idea of just having to learn how to smoke, to take smoke into my lungs.
Right.
You know, just that you don't. I didn't even dawn on me. I would just be like, oh, I'll just take it in. I won't cough or anything. So it took like a month before I got high. And the first time I got high, I remember freaking the fuck out. And I was trying to talk myself through it, like, it's a plant. You can't overdose unless you smoke your body weight. At least I heard that one time. I don't know if that's true. Even a newborn preemie can't do it. I'm saying this shit to myself, but I kept asking questions out loud, like, you guys hear my heart beating? Can you hear? I was so scared. I was like, I'm dying, and no one's even taking me to the hospital. It's kind of fucked up, guys. They were like, shut the fuck up, go downstairs, dude. You're brand new.
My stepdad smoked weed, and we stole it once when I was in high school. And me and my girlfriend and my friend Josh smoked pot over my girlfriend's house. And we were 16? I think I was 16, my girlfriend was 15. And we got so high that we would wake up in the kitchen and then wake up in the living room. Like we'd be missing time. We'd be missing spots. Like, how did we get here? Like, I'll never forget that. Like, when you're 16, you don't really get paranoid because you're not worried too much about stuff. You're too stupid. Your brain hasn't fully formed yet.
That's right.
You know? And I didn't really understand pot. I have no idea how much we smoked. We just kept smoking it. You know, when you're 16, you don't know to stop. You just keep smoking. And I just remember, like, my whole body was tingling, and we were, like, lying on the couch together, and we, like, couldn't move. We're like, oh, my God, I can't move. Then all of a sudden, we were in the kitchen, standing in front of the refrigerator. I'm like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Yeah, we were gone. We were too high. We just didn't know we had no idea what was happening. That's the one thing that's cool about getting people high that don't get high, is you get to see that overwhelming rush where they don't really know what this is or what to do.
Right.
Like Chris McGuire, I got him high once. You know Chris?
No.
Stand-up comic, funny guy. He produces a bunch of TV shows now. He produces, I think he's the executive producer of that Snoop Dogg and the show with Martha Stewart.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Anyway, got him high, and he's like, I think there's something else in this pot. I think there's something else in it. No, it's just, that's what pot's like today. He's like, no. This isn't pot. This isn't pot. This is more than pot. I'm like, no, this is pot. This is what pot is now. Pot is now a different thing. It's like you go back to some pot from the 1960s. Those hippies, they didn't know what the fuck they were smoking. They were smoking bullshit.
Yeah.
This pot today is scientifically organized.
So my uncle, he's in his 80s. He's got stage 4 cancer. He's on his way out, and he's not eating at all. It's a couple weeks now. He hasn't had a bite to eat in like 2 weeks. And my cousin takes care of him, and he's like, I'm thinking about giving him weed. I'm like, give him weed. Give it to him. He's fucking 80, couple years old. He's got stage 4. What does it matter at this point? Like heroin. Give whatever the fuck he wants to put him at rest. He's like, I think I'm going to give him weed. I'm like, let him smoke some. He used to smoke a pipe. Let him smoke a little bit. So he goes down, and he gives him some weed, and he smokes it. And he's like, I'm just going to stay here with you for a few hours. And a few hours go by. He's like, how do you feel? He's like, I don't really feel anything, but I'm tired. I think I'm going to go to bed. And the next day, my cousin goes back to see him with some more weed. And he's like, how was last night? He goes, I didn't feel weird. He goes, but I slept like a baby. And he's like, all right, good. Let's try this again. Day 2, not eating after almost 2 weeks, nothing. Smokes weed, and he's sitting with him for a couple hours. He's like, how do you feel? He goes, I think I could eat. And he ate a fucking plate of spaghetti and meatballs, heavy-ass meatballs, boom, on day 2 from smoking marijuana. Wow. And I was like, because Maryland's way behind. I think they finally just have their first and only legal dispensary, and he's the prime candidate for that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, go get him a prescription now and just let him smoke himself on the way out.
That's one of the saddest things about it being illegal and stigmatized for so long. There's so many people with diseases and arthritis, inflammation, all sorts of problems that have just been just told that they can't, they can't have this one thing that's going to give them relief. Yep. It's not hurting anybody. It's just a plant.
I got some CBD cream on my back right now. Fucking works. It's phenomenal.
That stuff's amazing.
I can't even get over it.
No side effects.
I'm new to the CBD side of it, and I'm just like, man, it really fucking works.
Dude, I carry this shit with me everywhere. Right in the fanny pack. I got this Liberty lotion. This stuff right here. That? Oh, yeah. I love that stuff. I started using it when I had some tendonitis. I've healed it since, but I had some tendonitis on my elbow, and I started using that, and I was like, ooh.
How many times a week?
Whenever. You can use it whenever. It doesn't hurt.
And the next day you feel, or how pretty quick you feel?
Real quick, man.
I feel this pretty quickly. Yeah.
I had a bit of a pulled muscle on the outside of my hip. It was real stiff and it was bothering me. I put some of that shit on before I went to bed. I woke up in the morning. I was like, what, did it go away? It was weird. I went to bed with it. It was aching. And I woke up in the morning, nothing.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
powerful.
slathered that stuff all up on there. It just reduces inflammation.
I'm going to write that one down.
And here's the thing, is one of my sponsors. Here, you can have that one.
Thank you.
You can have that. And here's the thing, sore joints and, problems with muscles, that stuff's amazing. It just loosens you up. And it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't fuck you up. It doesn't get you high. You feel exactly the same. And some people would take it orally. I take it orally occasionally, but most of the time I just rub it on like any part that's sore. But when you take it orally, like people, they find that it relieves anxiety.
Yeah.
It helps them relax. And it doesn't fuck you up. Like you can drive. It's not like you're high, you're
Right.
paranoid. It just chills you out a little bit. Just calms you down.
I just got a CBD vape pen. I've tried the vape, so the vape pens don't work well for me. The marijuana ones. Plant works well for my system. Even edibles don't really. I took 2 stars of death in front of Joey Diaz. Didn't do a thing. He goes, "It's a shame they don't do anything to you."
This fucking guy, he doesn't get high on
It's
them.
weird.
Jamie has one of those weird bodies where he can eat like, what's the most amount of edibles you've ever eaten?
1,300 milligrams.
Jesus,
1,350.
see, that's what. Here's what I feel like. I feel like I would
so
have
nervous.
to figure out what that number is, go past that point, and then dial it back from there. And I don't really want to go past that fucking point.
I was trying to do
1,300 is
it, yeah.
insane.
I was trying to test to see what it took to.
But that's
did
when you
start
felt
feeling
it.
I don't know that I did. I'm sure I did a little bit. Obviously, I had to have. Like I did it again. I took 1,000 and played video games, and like 5 hours in, it was really tough to play games. I didn't care. I didn't want to sit there anymore. So it's hard to keep my attention on it. So it obviously worked at some point,
Right.
But it wasn't I wasn't freaking out or anything like people
Man,
describe.
I can't take more than 100. I go into the hundreds and I start getting weirded out. Like I'm a 25 to 50 milligram guy because it gives me like a little high, just get a little high and I'm fine. Unless I want to go into the tank, I'll take 100 and go in the tank. But when I get in there, I'm like, just let me lie down in here. Just let me lie down. And I literally start thinking about things I did when I was 14. Like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Like, hey man, forgive yourself. You were 14.
Stop beating yourself up, bro. You're 14.
But I literally will think about stupid shit that I did when I was a little kid. It forces you to examine anything in your life that you might have pushed aside.
Yep.
Like you have to come to grips and make restitution and figure out what the fuck you did that for and why did you have those thoughts and why did you behave that way and how are you different now and how have you grown past that. That's the thing about marijuana, that it's a really highlight. There's a lot of it. People say it makes you paranoid, and it certainly does. But I think a lot of what that is just making you aware of things you're trying to not think about. It's convenient for you in normal life to not think about those things. But as soon as you get high, marijuana's like, hey, there's some shit that's bothering you, and you're not even thinking about it. Here, come with me. We're going to the back of your head, and I'm going to shine a light on this.
Yeah.
Look at all this stuff. What are you going to do with that?
So address this, motherfucker.
How about you clean this shit up?
Yeah. Yeah. Those pens, do you like them? Have you tried them?
I have. I'm not a fan. I occasionally will use a pen, but I prefer smoking joints.
Yep.
That's what I like.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So when from time to time I'll clean out my place. I believe in just getting cluttered. It opens up so many different avenues to bring other things in. So instead of just throwing it all away, I make a game out of it. So I go out to the Pasadena Rose Bowl and I just sell my shit. I just sit there in a parking space and a half by myself and I fucking sell garbage. And my goal every time is to sell everything. Whatever I don't sell, I swing by Goodwill, I donate it, and then I'm out of there.
How much have you made doing that?
Well, I would average $350, which is a solid 4 or 5 hour day out there having fun, just
not
yelling
bad.
at people, watching the goofs. Because you see it's interesting. It's a weird social experiment because you see the people that are addicts to whatever it is, shoes, belts, leather, whatever. Then you see people who are addicted to the sale. Oh, that's just too good to pass up. I don't need that fucking iron, but it's 50 cents. I'm buying that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And you're like, wow. So you're like, oh, okay, you really you want all my leather goods. They'll come running to you for musical instruments and jeans. That's the first wave of people. They're sprinting through. You have jeans, you have musical instruments. So I just take shit. My average was $300. My daughter's mother, and I was like, I'm just gonna sell all our shit, and she's like, you're not gonna make a lot of money. I'm like, I'll make at least $350. It's a fun day. Throw it towards some baby stuff, you know. So I go out, and you got to get out there before the sun's up, you know. And you've got all kinds of people out there. They're praying to Mecca before the sun comes up and shit. You're like, wow, this is a whole universe of different fucking people. Not only the sellers, the buyers.
And this is the Rose Bowl?
It's the Rose Bowl. It's the second Sunday of every month, yeah.
What do they call it?
Pasadena Flea Market, and it's at the Rose Bowl.
Do you have to have a license?
You buy a permit, and basically your space is a parking space and a half. That's all you get. It's narrow, so people are right on top of you. So I pull the truck in, and then I just set everything up behind it so I can chill in the truck. And I just put blankets down. I'm like, $5 blanket. I just start yelling everything like, got books, got CDs. People still buy cassettes.
When are you doing this again?
I'm ready to do it now. I got so much to go.
Yeah, I want to watch.
It's so much fucking fun. So I get out in the lane, and I also play a game too. Like a friend of mine, he would go once in a while. And I'm like, all right, let's pick the fucking item you should never be able to sell, but our goal is you got to fucking sell it. I had a VHS self-prostate exam, a VHS cassette, and I was like, I'm going to sell this. He's like, you're definitely not going to sell that today. And I packaged it with a little rollaway, and I was like, by the way, this is a hilarious Father's Day prank. She's like, that's great. How much? I was like, $1. Bought it. Boom. But I just get out there and I yell, you know, because I sold a leather jacket, a nice one, and this guy came sprinting over. Do you have any more leather goods? I'm like, no, I just had one leather jacket. And I'm like, I'm out there like, so my whole thing is I set it all up. And I don't bring plant because you can smell that a mile away. So I bring these little, you know, I brought this vape pen. And I'm hitting the fucking thing, and I'm hitting the thing, and I'm all set up now. I got a $10 table, a $5 blanket and shit. And whatever doesn't sell by about 11:30 noon, now it's a $2 blanket. Now it's a $1 blanket. Everything's, and it's $1. Everything's $1. Who you bullshitting? And they come running over. And they'll buy books. I'm like, can I get 4 of these for $1? I'm like, yup. So I'm hitting this vape pen, and I start to feel this weird sensation in my chest, and it spreads to my arms, and it's almost like I'm almost powerless. I can't raise my arms. And I see the circle start to close, and I'm like, oh, no. I'm by myself. I'm like, there's no fucking way. Breathe through this shit. And I'm just like, don't pass out. Don't pass. And I've never passed out, but that circle was fucking closing. Whoa. And I caught myself, and I was able to keep with it. And I was texting, you know, my daughter's mom, like, some shit. You know, it's fucking 6 a.m. She's just dead asleep. Like, if you don't hear from me in 30 minutes, you know, I'm just texting weird shit. So I get back to myself, and I start selling shit. And by the end of that day, I fucking sold the table I brought to bring the shit on. I went home with nothing. And I get home, and she's like, how'd you do? And I go, not as good as I thought I would, because I thought I'd make $350. So they start telling me that everybody in the apartment complex had bets against me of what I would make. And I was like, what was the top? They're like, 150. I fucking threw $650 on that table. I was like, that's a good motherfucking day out at the Rose Bowl.
Wow.
P.S. I almost died. So I tell my friend about that, who he grows marijuana. He smokes from the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed. And I was like, I'm hitting one of these pens this weekend at the thing. He goes, let me tell you how that ends. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I hit one this weekend at a wedding. Same fucking thing. He went into a seizure. They took him to a hospital from the wedding, dude.
All these people seizuring.
And I'm like, what? He said for a good 15 minutes when they were like, you're at the hospital, he didn't know what a hospital was. He was like, he said it took him a minute to come back to himself.
Whoa.
And I just recently tried a new one again. I was like, let me just try it like an idiot. But for like a good 2 weeks, I had that feeling of like I didn't have my strength. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't.
Really?
Yeah, it was so weird all across the.
You think it's all the vape pen? Like, what is in the vape pen? What is in that stuff? Because there's a bunch of oils and stuff that they use to make.
There was wax. That's what they all tell you. We can't tell you. I did Todd Glass's podcast a while ago, and I was like, dude, you've had a heart attack. You shouldn't be smoking those pens. And as I'm telling him that story, his producer's got this look in his eye. I go, I can tell. He's like, dude.
When did Todd have a heart attack?
So a little while ago, a few years back.
I didn't know.
Yeah, young. And his producer was like, step by step, what you're saying to me happened to me. And Todd Glass took that threw that shit over his shoulder. I was like, dude, get rid of that thing.
Well, yeah, just regular weed's good.
That's it. Plant.
Stop
man.
playing around.
You don't need anything else.
Yeah, the people are always giving me stuff, and I was like, look, I just like joints, and sometimes I like blunts. This is the latest thing with tobacco on the outside. Yeah.
See, I don't like that.
I like it.
The The thing I never liked about the blunts was I really like the taste of weed, and that old Phillies, like that wrapper, it dominates the flavor.
Right.
It's like cilantro. You know what I mean? You
know
don't taste
Gino.
anything but that. Yeah, yeah.
Gino
I
from
love
LA
Gino.
Speedweed.
Yeah.
He's got the shit, and that stuff is this stuff. It's like got some sort of a nice tobacco leaf outside, but powerful weed inside. You just got to be careful of how many hits you take.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, that fucking looks.
But it gives you like a little elevated thing too. Like I had Charlie Murphy was always into them, and that's how I first got introduced to blunts. Was hanging out with Charlie. We did a tour together, and when we would get high together, Charlie was always rolling blunts. I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I tried it. I was like, wow, this is interesting. I'm like, it's different. It's like, it's different, right? I go, it's different. It's like it's weed, but it's also something else. You know, it's got a little extra kick. But yeah, this pen thing, and it's just people are always trying to find new ways to get fucked up. Like, there's enough ways. They're already established.
Yeah, it's the joints are the best. I mean, I was telling you about those doctors when we were talking before the show, and the thing he said about smoking a bowl is just the only thing you have to worry about is the butane you're sucking in from the lighter.
True.
It's not the smoking in glass. Don't put it in
You
like
can taste it.
Yeah, you can absolutely. I just saw a lighter the other day at a shop that was alcohol. I'd never seen that before, and I don't know if that's any better for you or not. But it was an alcohol lighter instead of a butane lighter.
I imagine it would be better. But I've used matches before for that very reason, because I could smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's with cigars. Like, you're not supposed to light a cigar with a butane lighter. They stink.
Right.
And you're supposed to light it. The real cigar dorks, they'll take a cigar or lighter rather, and they'll light a piece of cedar, and then they'll use that piece of cedar to light the cigar with.
right.
So there's no bullshit, no bullshit fumes. They'll take a match, light the cedar, and then take that cedar, light the cigar.
Yeah, I'm not a blunt fan though, but I get it. I've smoked enough of them, but I'm like, I really like the taste. That's why I like joints, because you can taste the weed.
Yeah.
I enjoy the taste of marijuana.
Yeah, I do too. Especially the good California weed.
Yeah.
The stuff we're getting today, it's like, whew,
It's
it's
nuts.
nice. It's nice. We live in a good time.
We do live in a
We're in
damn
a good time for pot.
Mm-hmm.